So good evening, good evening, good evening. And tonight we are blessed to have Mr. Eddie Jafferman on board. So tonight on Make Some Noise, we're talking about branding. So I should actually get all my branding that I spent all this time to do before. There we go. Make some noise. This is the show. So welcome to the first person who's watching. Hello. And if you haven't already, jump on the YouTube, I Need a Friend, and also my Facebook music page. So tonight is and I'll probably say this when there's a few more people watching. I'm just waiting to sync up. Going live here. There we go. Tonight is the first time I'm actually broadcasting on a big basis to Korea and Russia. So hello. I can't say that in Korean Russian yet, but I will find out. So if you have any questions about branding, tonight's the night to ask, and make sure that you please type it in and I will put your comments up. So here we go. Without further ado, Mr. Eddie, how are you, sir?
I am excellent, Douglas, and yourself, mate?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Cool. Thank you for, making effort and giving your time. I would love you to do some intros because I'm going to multitask in the background.
Excellent.
Whoa. Yep. There we go.
That's me. Oh, technology. Whoa.
So,
okay.
And I'm going to share this in the background. So if you want to just give us a little intro about who you are and what you might do for about 30 seconds.
Who am I? My, I suppose, brand name, if you like, is Jafferman Eddie. I run a business called Creative Copywriting Content Solutions. Now, you're probably sitting there wondering, hey, what's a copywriter and content writer got to do with branding and marketing for the people or solo artists and bands? Well, way back, I actually played the first schoolies gig ever on the Gold Coast. Wow, I'm one of five guys. Whoever has played TNT by AC/DC in Cavill Mall and not been asked to turn it down. So that's one thing. So I played in bands on and off, I don't know, for 10 or 20 years as a vocalist. I play guitar as well, but it's like a lot of things in life and business. In the bands I was always in, there were always better guitarists, and as a lead singer or vocalist, I could run amok a bit and interact and communicate and engage the crowd and that type of thing. So we played a lot of venues up around the Gold Coast, the Playroom. And every time we played there, it was awesome because, bands like In Excess and that had played there. You're playing on the same stage as that caliber of artists, which is, you feed off that adrenaline, I think. Anybody who plays a gig, whether it's to 5 people or 500, the adrenaline you get from a crowd when you play a gig is something you just can't really describe, and it's a feeling unlike any other. So Doug has asked me along, one, because we haven't talked to each other for a long time.
That is true.
I've been stalking him online. No, I haven't. And he seems to be doing some great things. But, so he wanted to pick my brains about branding solely because, we've been in business since 2003. I used to work with Doug way back.
We played in a band as well at some stage.
Yeah,
too.
We played a couple of gigs here and there. So I've been in business for myself, building a copywriting, content writing business, and we do social media for businesses and so forth. But at the end of the day, branding is really the same principles apply. To me, whether you're an artist or a copywriter or a plumber, branding and marketing, the same basic principles apply. Just like the Savo's Gold Coast Music Jam that you did, I think it was Lyndon Man who said marketing is a lot of just common sense. And I'd agree 100% with that, even as a marketer. Yeah?
Yeah, right. Yeah, I want to actually talk and actually explicitly extract what that common sense might look like and go through a few models. And so everyone that's watching, please share this as well. I need a secretary. I'm trying to share this. I clearly need a secretary. So that's what I need for my branding. I need a world headquarters. So maybe first thing about just maybe can we talk about the difference between marketing and branding by definition, just the definition per se. And then we'll go through some workable models.
Okay. All right. Well, marketing is what you do, I think. And how you do it. Whereas branding is who you are. Okay. in its simplistic form. Now that is quite broad. I.e., I got a Jaffa Man suit on. That is part of my branding. But branding's so much more, man. It's how you talk to venues about getting a gig. Yeah, it's how you answer the phone. It's how you play the gig. It's how you interact with the audience at the gig. It's what you do after the gig. Do you hang around and talk to people? Or do you just up and leave? So branding encompasses all that type of stuff, and of course, it's logo and colors and who you are. But it's a lot more than just one thing, obviously.
So I guess how I would summarize that is the difference between marketing, as you said, is what you do and how you do it, but the branding is the experience. Because if we use Apple computers as an example, I used to work for Apple. Actually, not many people know that, but I used to work for Apple.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, right.
And there you go.
There you go. And they're selling computers as a lot of other people are, but it's the experience of that brand. You have expectation now. When you go to Apple, you want to go down and have customer service and people who actually know what they're doing. But if they don't know what's going on, they can turn it around very quickly. So hence it's the experience what they're selling. And the other thing I learned about branding is why this is powerful about branding, which I wanted to pick your brain in a minute, is in this day and age with COVID, a lot of repeat business is the backbone of your business, not new business.
Agreed. Yep.
Right. So a lot of, how do I say, let's be an author for example. First book comes out, cool, awareness. Hey, you can write. Second book comes out, a few more people. Third book comes out, the initial customers, J.K. Rowling example, Harry Potter series, right? So that's how it sort of snowballs. So getting back into an example, it's specifically for music, because I know you're running in this business that you do. I'm in an original band. I have a record. What do I need to do to command and conquer being the next In Excess, the next whatever?
Yep.
What would I need to do? What's your point on that?
Well, I think there's two strategies really, mate. I mean, let's be honest. I think the bands that achieve worldwide stardom or whatever terminology or recognition you want to give it have a manager who's experienced in marketing and branding. Agreed?
So the brains trust I need.
Yeah. So if you do DIY it, okay, you're an artist, you've got a record, so how do you promote it? How do you reach more people and engage with the audience that you want to engage with? Yeah?
Right, yep, understood.
So,
DIY.
DIY, that's exactly right. A DIY rock star. Okay. Well, basically, so, I'm not going to really give you any magical gems here, but one gem I think I'm going to give you is this. You got to be the marketer of your thing, not the doer of your thing. Now, what do I mean by that? You've got to market yourself, okay? There's tons of great musos out there, yeah? Heaps of talent. And I think it was in last week's chat that you had with the ladies from the Gold Coast Music Awards. And there were comments coming in saying, but a lot of artists are shy, and that's true, where there's introverts and extroverts. But I think if you want to launch your album, and reach more people and more of the right type of people, you've got to go out of that comfort zone, man. So how do you do that? Well, let's look at the free ways. You use social media, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah,
and tonight going to broadcasting live to Russia and Korea.
That's
Hello.
exactly right. Now, how powerful is that? And it's free. Yeah.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah. So
sort of. Yeah. But
sort of
generally,
free.
Yeah.
Okay. But that's one way to reach it. Now, maybe you should be playing a gig or playing a song or a soundtrack in the back of while we're playing this here, just to disrupt things. But you know what I mean? There's one way. Social media is really powerful, but the thing I find with social media is everybody's comparing themselves to everybody else, and they all see these people doing great things and think they've got to live up to that, because, man, we live in a world where stuff is just thrown at us. Like it's interrupting marketing. Yeah, everywhere we go. Is an ad going to pop up here?
Yeah. Well, okay.
An ad by
actually,
Doug CD now. Is that what's going to pop up? No, I'm just joking, mate.
Well, now you said that, I do have this, and see what you tell me. Here we go. Ready? 6 seconds.
I like it.
There you go.
Yeah, but social media, and as I said, I mean, I've been watching the other guys and girls that you've had on before, and I'm not really going to give you any nuggets of gold, I think, but I think it's because branding, you want to launch your business or your CD and reach more people. Okay, step one, have a YouTube channel, which you've got. Step two, I'm assuming you're promoting that single and that across all these platforms. Yeah.
Right. Yep.
But, and different social media have different or have different needs. Instagram, when you think of Instagram, what do you think of? Like, what is Instagram to you?
Well, probably the instant picture is, very, very attractive looking people doing things.
That's exactly right. It's not a content social media platform, is it? It's a visual and an audio. Yeah. You know what I mean? Whereas LinkedIn or Facebook is more sort of text, like you get longer posts on Facebook, agreed? And obviously
so more emotional content, yeah.
Well, yeah, but Instagram's great because we all think in pictures. So if I see a picture of you shredding on your axe, chances are I'm going to stop scrolling through my phone and at least have a look at you and see what's going on. Does that mean, so we think in pictures, yeah? Once again, basic marketing 101 is we think in pictures first, yeah? So, if you're posting on Instagram, you need an image that stops people dead in their tracks while they're scrolling on their phone, yeah?
Yeah.
One of the other guys in the earlier or a replay of a Gold Coast Muso Jam I heard this afternoon was saying how, I think there's a duo on the Gold Coast or something, and they invite people into their world, if you like. They show them in the studio writing songs, all the food bars and things like that. So I mean, that's all good. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're all things that give people a connection with you, and that's really part of what marketing is. When people call me, they don't say, how do I rephrase that? I started wearing an orange suit solely because I was going to business events when I first started business. I was walking into a room full of 300 other business owners, yeah. And you know what?
You had to stand out and not wear a black suit.
That's exactly right. We all looked and sound the same. And no one knew what a copywriter was back then because the internet was in its infancy. Yeah?
Right. Okay.
So people think I'm a copyright playwright or a copyright lawyer, even still. But we know, with the internet these days, I have competition all over the world just like anybody else in business does. But so I thought, how do I stand out in the crowd? And I had a friend who worked at Pacific Fair, and they sold all these coloured suits, and I tried on every colour, and orange just seemed to work. And then, I was wearing it around and around, and people will always knock you, guys. When you stand out, people will always knock you. Yeah. Don't worry about it. Let the baby have its bottle. You run your own race. That's probably what it's true. I used to go to business events and people go, "Oh, I didn't know it was fancy dress," but you know what? They always remembered me.
Yeah, right. I like it. You remind me of the Red Baron.
Yeah, okay.
Being an aviation fan. So think about this: World War II. No, Red Baron's World War I. He. I'll tell the story. So anyway, he painted his plane bright red because he was that good of a pilot. Like, you know what? I'm going to paint he was an original 80s hair metal fan. You can tell, seriously. But, he was that cocky. I'm going to paint my plane bright red, take as many shots as you want, guys. You're not going to get me. I am the king of aces because I think he got like 81 kills or something.
Okay.
Anyway, yeah, you remind me of the Red Baron. Anyway, he like attracts like. So he
It
had
does.
he had a whole squadron of really, really bright painted aeroplanes.
Yep.
Amazingly. So he called it the Flying Circus.
Yep.
And Monty Python used that
Okay.
flying. I'm a Monty, John Cleese fan. Yeah. But before we go on to the next bit, sorry, I do have a question here for you, sir. Here we go.
Go.
From Dwight. Here we go. Hey, Dutchie, that would be me because I'm half Dutch. Does a DIY rock star have connections to cross over into the corporate world? The answer is usually no, because artists are embedded in their art, not in the business. So do you have anything to add to that?
Is he basically saying, how do we break into the corporate world?
Correct. And someone's just saying you've got 81 kills.
Right.
You're an ace.
Good on you, Nick. Thanks, man. I think it can, but once again, I think you got to start small and think big. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, why we don't want to hear it? Once again, you got to put in the work before you get success, and whatever success means to you.
Right.
I think that's a thing that a lot of people miss. Yeah, sure. I mean, you get your Justin Biebers who may get discovered on YouTube, but I think that's a one-off, or, let's say 100 off. For every 100 people, 1 million have tried. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then some manager picks them up and they've already got the contacts. They've already got this and that. But I don't see why you can't apply it to the corporate world. I think the biggest challenge for a lot of artists coming from a DIY rock star, background, into a corporate is, corporates have a different mindset and they probably are scary. And that's something that you can only learn by yourself. It's like when you play a gig to 10 people and then you play a gig to 1,000, like it's a different audience and you've got to handle yourself a different way. Does that make sense? Or at least I think you do.
Yeah. Can you maybe unpack that, handle yourself a different way? So that comes back to branding. So it's the attitude. This is just my opinion, what Dwight was saying. It's the experience of you, right?
Yep.
Is that one?
That's exactly right. But, you want to walk in and be confident, and you got to make them want you. Think of Russell Crowe and The Gladiator. You got to win the crowd. And whether that crowd is a boardroom full of suits in a record label, or whether it's a crowd of punters at an AC/DC concert, you've got to win the crowd. Yeah. But I also, having said that, man, this term authenticity gets kicked around a lot. Yeah. And, you got to be authentic and true to yourself. But let's be honest, there's always a trade-off in life and business, and going from a DIY rock star to an international rock star, it's going to come with trade-offs as well. I imagine. Yeah.
Yeah. And you're learning how to be better at it. Yeah. I like that.
Sorry.
I like what you. I was just going to say, I like what you just said there. You have to learn to be better at doing things. And I think I'm just going to speak from my own experience about letting go of things that I know other people can do better, and just admit that, what, I need help at this because I can do this really well and I need to do something else there. And we got Dwight putting in here, what is the meaning of success in COVID? To me, is business continuity and diversity as well as opportunity. Right. So that was Dwight's question before about moving forward through, what was his question up here, what you just answered before, DIY Rockstar. So, and when you said before, just before upscaling the gigs, you have to be a different person. So, or even the packaging of your product. So any ideas of what you could start with first? Up in smoke, John, oh my God. Yeah. What would you start with first? So if you're upping the ante, would you start with as what we've already discussed about the way you dress, or would you start with the product, or would you start with how it's sold, how it's packaged? What would you start with?
Well, I think, once again, no revelation here. I think the music comes first, okay? I think your image comes second, and then I think your interaction with your fans is third, yeah? So and knowing and being comfortable who you are, but not staying there. Yeah. You look at any great artist who is a great brand. Okay. Quick one. AC/DC. I'm a big AC/DC fan. Yeah, no doubt. But if I go to an AC/DC gig, I know exactly. I'm not going to hear no love ballads, mate. I'm going there to hear some good old-fashioned Aussie rock. Yeah. So they know who they are. They have always known who they are, and they're always true to their brand. But then you could say, well, look at U2. I'm a big U2 fan. Yeah. And I like the Joshua Tree in the early years because that's what I learned to play guitar on, a lot of stuff, as well as Neil Young and that. But I'm going off on a tangent because I told you I would. And then they did the Zoo tour. They went through that Zootopia thing. Now, I was a pretty hardcore fan, but when they went through the Zoo phase or branding, if you like, I sort of lost it with them. Yeah, they sort of turned me off. And I don't know why. I think because, as artists, as business owners, as people, we all need to, you start with a brand, but then you'll evolve it. You go through changes, and it's just a series of evolution, baby, in the words of Eddie Vedder. Yeah. So, that's sort of what I mean. Like, you can start somewhere with your brand. Yeah. Just anything. And, I know I rant and rave, but I don't.
No, this is the platform for it.
Well, yeah, but, it's not. You've just, people, I watching all your videos recently over the last couple of weeks, and everyone's comments are right. You've got to find some point of difference about you because there's just so many other artists. But let's just rethink that a bit. Let's just say, instead of competing, just be yourself and do what you want to do, and you will attract those people. Yeah.
Yep.
In the big picture of things. And that can be a long, hard slog too. Okay. Let's not have any misconceptions about that.
So if we unpack that, we've got a question here. I've got a question too. Can you explain confidence, man?
Can I explain confidence? Confidence to me is something you acquire just like anything else. You want to be a good guitar player. What's the best way to do that? Practice every day. You want to gain confidence from a business. Okay, let's look at it. Let me, hopefully this will work out. Let's say, all right, I want to play gigs. Yeah. I'm nobody. I'm a guy in an orange suit called Jaffa Man. Yeah. Jaffa Man, get off. Anyway, I want to acquire gigs. What's the best way for me to acquire gigs? The best way for me to acquire gigs is call people, call venues, and, let's just say call 10 venues a day. And if I do that for the next 5 days, that's 50 calls a week in 5 days, yeah?
Yep.
Now, I'm going to get belted. I've got to wear a bulletproof vest, but I'll also gain my confidence. Okay? Right. Does that make sense?
School of hard knocks.
Yeah. I'd like to say there was some magical pill, but there isn't, It's just believing in yourself, man. You got to believe in whatever you do, whether it's music, copywriting, whatever, back yourself all the way. And people will, oh, you can't do that. You can't. Well, unless you're hurting somebody, it's really none of their business. And don't worry about critics. For some reason, when people succeed, there's always someone to tear you down. I'm not really sure why that is. It must be human nature or something. I don't know, mate. It's getting deep now. Sorry. So I hope that actually helps you build confidence.
You just got another kill. You're up to 82 kills now.
No, confidence is something you acquire. And I'm lucky. I've got some life experience now, when I used to play gigs back in the day, it was good because I was always nervous. But I think that shows that you care, Even now doing this, I haven't done like a live stream with anybody for quite a while, but I'm excited about it, but I'm nervous about it. But here we are. So you just got to take on the challenges.
You're a natural, man. You've got nothing to worry about. That's totally cool. But I think that you just unpacked what I wanted to ask about. How do you actually break the ice and just getting on with it? And I think there's no substitute for the work. And the other thing I would like to also ask you about confidence in yourself, but also with your sorry, I've got things dinging here. Did you hear that? Because it was really loud in my ears. No. Ding. There we go. I would like to ask you about like confidence in where do you escalate to not second guess yourself. So I could go and get, a purple suit, right?
Yep.
And I might think it's cool, but someone else might not. So I'm just wondering what would be a good way to, include someone in your inner circle about seeing where you're at, or is that the best time to escalate and get professional consultancy?
Well, do you care what people think if you wear a purple suit?
I would only care if, well, probably not, knowing me, I don't really care.
Yeah,
but however, if it was to do with a brand of some sort, like that's what we're talking about tonight, if, selling my next album or whatever, they may, hey, that's not a good look. You know what? Here's a good question. This is real. I can't help when I'm playing and rock around, I go like this, I'll stick my tongue out. And my mother hates it. Why do you stick your tongue out? So this is
that sounds like most mothers, though. Yeah.
Right. So here's the thing. Like, so when I go to pose for a photo, my mum's voice like, don't stick your tongue out. Don't stick your tongue out. Don't stick your tongue. And as soon as they go, cheese, stick your tongue out. So I don't know. So that's actually a real situation. but being authentic to myself, what comes naturally, but then I look later like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have done that. But anyway.
Yeah, well, that's one of those things in the heat of the moment, but it also just shows that you're being your true self. And hey, I've done things my mother doesn't like all of us sons and daughters out there. So, but it's part of probably your signature now as well. I see it a lot, and you're right, you do it, but it's part of who you are. So I don't think, some manager might say, "Oh, don't do that, Doug," or whatever, but I think if that's part of who you are, and
right.
It's part of who you are. Why try and change it? I mean, there's nothing wrong with trying to change yourself and make yourself better in whatever part of life, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah.
Yeah. Kiss fan. Yeah. Gene Simmons. Yep.
Yeah. But you've got to still be yourself. I mean, this branding thing, we've got personal branding and corporate branding. You need to think of branding. How do I say this? Okay, let's talk about Apple. Yeah, you worked for Apple, right?
Yeah.
So who's the personal brand?
Or it's their people.
Yeah, but who's the go-to that's no longer with us?
Mr. Jobs.
That's right. So he's the personal brand of Apple, yeah?
Right.
So the company or product brand is what?
The product brand is, I guess it's it's the legacy now, isn't it? The branding is
Apple
like what
products, and the legacy beyond. But see what I mean? And I think that applies to a lot of things. Like I'm a personal brand. Yeah, I'm a personal brand, Jaffa Man Eddie, Commander-in-Chief of Creative Copywriting Content Solutions. But the business brand is Creative Copywriting Content Solutions. Yeah? Does that make sense?
Yeah. I agree.
So, I mean, you look at Bono out of U2, he's sort of like a personal brand. Yeah, but the product brand is, U2. Yeah?
Yeah, right. So we're differentiating personality attached to the brand. So like people like Kylie Jenner, the youngest billionaire, how her personality is worth so much. And back, what was the brand? She I can't even remember the brand, but
okay.
But I'm picking up what you're putting down. Absolutely here.
Whereas, and that's not always the way. Look at Springsteen. He doesn't have a corporate brand. Bruce Springsteen is Bruce Springsteen, but his brand is simple. He's just, American class, working class, muso for the American people or more people of the world. Ultimately, I'm a big fan of him too. He writes some killer lyrics, but that's beside the point. So you know what I mean? Like, some bands have, the lead vocalist, if you like, as a personal brand, but they then have a corporate brand as well, or a product brand, or a music brand.
Yeah,
Clear as mud.
Yeah, no. I think it's great. So you're talking about so Metallica. If we say Metallica, and they also have an experience of, I've just forgotten his name. How can I forget his James Hetfield?
Lars?
Yeah,
Yeah.
James. Yeah, James, the lead singer. He would, if he endorses something that's completely unique. Yeah. So multiple personalities. Same with the Beatles. They have different things there. And
That's exactly right.
we've got a little question here. Tall poppy syndrome has been part of Australian attitude for far too long. Is it really human nature? Well, I'm sure. Can we teach? I don't know if it's human nature, because like if you go to places like Japan, like it's embedded in their culture as being very polite. But I don't know. What's your point on that?
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know. People just get jealous. But I think a lot of it is people don't see the work that goes behind it,
Right.
George Thorogood. How did you learn to play guitar, George Thorogood? Oh, I locked myself in my room for 3 years straight and didn't come out. That's how he learned to play
Right.
rock
Yeah.
blues, So
Yeah.
it takes that commitment. But the tall poppy thing, I don't agree with it. But I also believe, was it Veronica who sent that in?
Yeah. She's great. Yep.
That,
Yep.
you've just got to not buy into that BS, Veronica. Run your own race. The more energy you spend worrying about other people and what they think of you, the less focused you are about where you want to go. Whether you're an artist, a business owner, a husband, a wife, or whatever. And, so it's like that age old. People are always worried about a competition or what other people think. Stuff it. You got to sort of be confident enough within yourself. This is who I am. This is what I'm about. This is who I'm for. Yeah. So rock on. You know what I mean? Like,
yep. I know. I really appreciate that. And Veronica is actually a great visual artist too. So maybe Veronica, if you're listening, take those words of advice from Ed. The question I have next is about the band plan, so to speak. So with branding, it's okay to be aware of all these things, but to actually, can we maybe get some feedback on a time congruent model that people might want to unpack?
You know what? That's yep. Go.
Yeah. Well, just in context for original artists of some descript.
Okay. Let's use your example of you got an EP and you want to sort of DIY rock star and get gigs. There you go. Post-traumatic express. I like that. Yeah, I saw that on the other one. See, you're a shameless marketer. That's the way. But you got it.
Okay. I'll give it a go. Yeah.
So, I mean, you know what? Like I said at the beginning, man, it whether you're a solo artist, a band, or a content and copywriter, the principles of marketing and branding remain the same. A lot of it is common sense, but you need to have a system. If you want to play Doug gigs, if you want to play gigs, Doug, blah, 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 you need a system to acquire gigs. Does that make sense? You need to create a process. Step one, post on social media every day. Not buy my CD, but to interact with people. Let them get to know you. To win at social media, you got to be social, man. Okay? Don't you? Yeah. So.
Oh, that is gold. That is gold. That is gold.
Captain but it's Obvious true, isn't it?
Captain Obvious.
Hey?
Yeah, that's the best advice ever. I'm going to write that down.
So.
But it's
true.
Social media, you got to be social. Yeah, right.
That's exactly right. But businesses and artists are the same. Buy my this, buy my that. Take them behind the scenes like some artists do, This is here we are in the recording studio. I saw a thing with John Bon Jovi, when COVID first hit, and he did a video where everyone sent in a verse and he was going to add it to his song that he did, like that's really cool, because you haven't heard from them in years, really. Or I haven't heard from him, and I used to be a fan because I was dating my girl at the time. Slippery When Wet was, at its peak. So,
best words I've ever heard.
Yeah, so so let's get back to it. So you're going to be a DIY rock star. So as I said, you got to post on social media, take advantage of those free marketing channels. Yeah. The only thing it costs you is time. And time, we all get the same amount of time. So you got to block out time. Yeah. So you're going to need to make time to do the marketing if you want to play gigs and reach more people. You know that. I remember when you first started doing these things, and it was probably, I don't know, I'm going to guess here, a year ago now, maybe just after COVID. I don't know. But now you seem to have a lot of traction, man. Yeah.
Yeah, because I got international. Last night I did a stream in London, and as those who just joined us, I'm actually streaming to Korea and Russia tonight. And so if you're in Russia, hello, how are you? I don't know how to say that in Russianese, but I'm working on it. The other thing, but to be honest, I only been doing. It was my New Year's Eve resolution. So New Year's Day 2019, I did my first talking video. And to get on with it, and I've made some serious mistakes, and every single week there is some serious tech issue I'm solving. Yes, but anyway, but I have. Sorry, you go.
But you're growing, man. You said, I'm going to do this. I have no idea. Do you know how many times I've done things? I have no idea what I'm doing. Yeah, but you know what? We figure it out. We fall down. Okay, and if you can say, you know what, I'm going to fall down, I'll just learn from it and move on. Try not to let what happened to yesterday carry you through today. Yeah. So back to DIY Rockstar. Use social media. Now you got to devote time to do that. So on your little outcome list, I have what I call an outcome list instead of a to-do list. To-do lists are nothing exciting. They sort of, man, I got to do all that stuff.
Write that one down too.
Yeah. So you want to think in terms of outcomes. Yeah. What do you want to achieve for that day? So from 9 to 11, I'm going to post on all my social media, and I'm going to, it's going to be about, the song I'm writing, or, an upcoming gig I have, or that, like venues. You know Mr. Troy, don't you? Guitarist. Yes. Yeah. I used to play with him in a band, and, wow. I'm friends with him on Facebook, and, I always get his gigs, relentlessly. Here's a few gigs you might be interested in, and it's really good. I like it. 1, I know him. 2, he's a killer guitarist, and 3, I love him like a brother, but that's another story.
Yeah, wow. The just here related, Dwight says here, but we have to remember that a lone tree, so DIY, attracts little rain. A tree in the forest bathes in the rain. I think we need to be the same, different, not just different or unique. Right. So I think that's an allegorical, that's a big word, way of saying.
It is a big word. Spell it.
Allegorical.
Okay.
Yeah. Allegorical meaning, it's quite deep, is that, you need to agree and amplify and maybe work with someone else, like in context, work together. Yeah. Work together.
I think so. I think there's power in numbers, once again, I'm only drawing on, my own circumstances, but what I've learned, I'm watching a lot more live online events and so forth. And you guys are right. One of the best ways to support local music and international music, as you like, is to hold events like these and get to know each other. Because once COVID is all over and done with, there's going to be bang, you've got your networking. There's no reason, like when I go to a Gold Coast Muso jam night or whatever, any jam night, I'm networking, but I'm also learning from other musos. I'm hanging out with my tribe. You used that word before, and that's what you want to create is a tribe. Dan Kennedy, Marketing 101, always create a tribe. Yeah. So, I think that, that's true. It's okay to ask for help because I find it so... every day, you should be doing this, you should be doing that. I don't want to preach like that to people. It's the same with clients. I'm sort of lucky. We take on clients that we connect with now and that we have things in common with. Yeah. Does that make sense? And I think that's a big struggle for artists One, because they have to do it all themselves, and they're trying to find somebody who can help them, who's just sort of saying, you've got to do this, you got to do that, and let's see what happens. But you really need to try and find a manager or somebody who you connect with, trust, and can engage with. Does that make sense? Yeah?
Yep. Yeah, I totally agree. There was a story when I got to work with Tommy Emmanuel. He actually, when he moved to the States in the early 90s, as soon as he got to the States, his contract was torn up in front of him and said, sorry, son, that's it. Thanks for coming to America. Game over. But instead of packing his bag and flying straight back to Australia, he started finding someone else who was actually into what he was doing. And I agree with what you were saying, because sometimes you can't fake chemistry. You need to find your tribe. And
that's a good. So I'm going to write that one down. Can't fake chemistry. Got it. Good work.
So yeah, that's you can have that. You can't. One. And you need to work with someone who agrees and amplifies what you're doing. And and I think also too, a good thing for musicians is that we have this ability to experience this playing music, because like some people, you don't have to think, you don't have to look, it just happens. Others need more input for whatever reason. So but the experience of the chemical reaction, you get used to it. And also too, when you're playing in a band and you have a deputy player swap out the part, it's a completely different experience because you're expecting some other input, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go.
Dynamics change. You bet. So moving forward, DIY Rockstar. So we're using social media from 9 till 11. Yeah. Okay. So 11, you're going to have a cup of coffee. Yeah.
That's it.
And take some time for yourself.
What's your cup look like? We should have a competition. Who's got the best cup?
Full-time Rockstar. Well, there we go.
Yeah. Was it full-time? Is it orange?
No, it's red.
Oh, mine's black. Matches my jacket.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I think
it's very nice, Doug. I like your cup a lot.
But I need to get a red one.
So we're back on track. So 9 to 11, we're doing social media, but we're not. And, send all the traffic back to your site as well. When you post, try and think of posting as an entree and all the main meals back at the website, at your website or Veronica's website. Yeah.
What was that analogy down? Entrees.
Well, yeah. When you're posting on social media, try and think of it as an entree. You want to send all the traffic back to your site, don't you?
Entree, right. Because that was going to be a question I was going to ask you. Is a .com dead?
Oh, I don't know. I don't really think so, and I don't really care about it. Give me, what do you mean a .com?
Oh, so, a URL website, so these days you can have a Facebook page and the back end is immediately integrated, and you get your friends, hey, you made a post, excellent. But if I have a website, I have to drive traffic there. I need to get T-shirts. I need to on the thing. So, but how many people? You can have a product.
You can have a product shop on your Facebook page and Instagram, subject to who you are. So you raise a good point. I don't necessarily think it's dead. I think it's another marketing avenue that you can utilize to build your brand and rock on with more people.
Yeah, because I was just going to ask everyone who's actually watching who actually still checks out bands' websites. And no on trails, just and I wanted to unpack this statement to the call to action when we get into our model. So if we go back to our model, so entrees to the website, and I guess what you mean by that,
or your Facebook, or send them to the product shop link on your Facebook page if you want to do that. The only thing I'm saying here is you're trying to build a relationship with people. And you and I both know you need to build relationships one at a time. Yeah. Because business is all about relationships, or our business. Yeah. I don't like to refer to it as my business anymore. I have 3 other people here now, which is awesome. But we focus a lot of our marketing on existing clients. They already know us. They already trust us. We know how they work. We know their products and services. There's no reason you can't apply that to a band scenario, I wouldn't think. Yeah. put it this way, when we played, here's an old bio from Khufu's tomb. Whoa, look at that. Where does it go? Well, there it goes. So that's an old black and white bio that we used to hand out. It's got a song list and that on it. But my point is, you know, if you get a gig, treat that venue like gold, as long as you had a good experience, and as did the publican and that. Like, there's a good rapport there, so you can get another gig. But you got to follow up. It's part of that system. Yeah.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. Cool. So what's after? We've got 9 to 11. So what's happening after 11?
Cup of tea.
Cup of tea.
Or a Jim Beam and Coke, whatever tickles your fancy there. But you still got to do some work. So 10 past 11 till 1 o'clock. Hey, that's probably a good time to call some venues. Even right now, if I was in music, I think I'd still be calling venues and making myself known to them. Yeah? Like getting to know who books the gigs, you know? Is it the event coordinator? What do they call these people these days, Doug? Fast Eddie's pub, I've got a event. I hold live bands. Do I have an event coordinator, or is it publican, or it still varies who you deal with?
Well, it's just an agent these days.
Yeah.
So because
the agent gets a gig.
Yeah, because most venues are now under contract. Jaffa Man does still work in our world. Does he? Yes. Oh, I don't know. Do you still do gigs? But we'll come back to that. Yeah. So the agent, I would imagine. A few. I think there's a few venues left that still book direct. But yeah.
Yep. Okay. So so once again, but see, you're relying on your agent getting you that gig. So you sort of lose a bit of control there.
Well,
because if the publican doesn't like the agent, if you're my agent, and they don't like you, well, I don't get the gig. That's a cold, harsh reality, isn't it? Yeah?
Right. Yes.
I don't know.
Okay. Sorry, keep going.
But don't get me wrong, if that's the way it's done, that's the way it's done. But in the words of Steve Jobs, well, do it a different way. See, I used to book all our gigs ourselves, but that was 15 years ago. Yeah. And that came with its own problems, as well as most of us who've probably booked their own gig at one time or another understand. Throwing 5 guys together, we're getting paid this much. We got to play this, there, What? What's going on? That's not good enough. What the fuck are you doing? So, am I making any sense? A manager, once again, I suppose if you've got a good manager, you get gigs. But I sort of, and if that's the way the industry is now, well, that's the way the industry is now. But I'd still go and do it myself to a degree.
Okay. So I guess what underlying there, you're talking about personal contact from service provider to, the customer, whoever needs that service. So old-fashioned
entertainment service. That's right. Yeah.
To actually have a personal relationship. Okay. So we're up to 1 o'clock now in the afternoon. What happens next?
It's probably time for a bit of lunch and go, wow, I called 10 people, but I've got 3 leads out of that. So I've got my details with 3 publicans, or, I've got three leads on upcoming gigs for that. They want me to call them back. They've asked me to email them my DIY Rockstar press kit, whatever. Yeah. So now you got to keep track of that. Yeah. Because if you say you're going to call in 3 weeks, make sure you call in 3 weeks. See, the fortune's in the follow through, man. Anything, whether you're playing gigs, whether you're playing gigs, whether you're, running a business. Once again, a lot of these principles are just common sense, but we tend to get sidetracked or overwhelmed with them all. And don't get me wrong, there's a ton to do. Yeah. But break it down in little chunks. This is what I'm saying. Divvy your day up for that. Because if you do social media posting from 9 to 11, 5 days a week, not to sell you, flog your CD, everything, but engage with your audience. Ask them to like your page. Hey, what do you like when you see a live band or whatever? Obviously you want to still sell a product and make yourself known and book gigs. Okay, that's part of the ultimate goal. But as I said, you got to be social on social media to win at social media. So, okay, so we've had lunch. Yeah. All right.
Yep.
And you've posted on social media for the day and you've called 10
Venues.
Okay. And you're feeling pretty good. You might be a bit beat up mentally, but suck it up and punch on through. Right. So after lunch, what do you want to do? You probably want to ring any previous venues. Reach out to past contacts. You know what I do once a month? I ring all my past clients from that month. Now, once again, you're in a band business and people go to me, yeah, that wouldn't work in my business. Well, that's BS because the business is still basically the same. The principle is, yeah?
Yeah.
Just
saying hello. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I'm going to call you next week and go, hey, Doug, how was our gig last week? And you go, oh, it sucked. And I said, okay, fine. Can we do it again?
Yeah.
But this is what I mean. And it is time consuming, but you've got to see now you're being the marketer of your thing, not the doer of your thing. Because music, being an artist and in a band is a little bit different. What I mean by that is, see, I'm a marketer of my thing. There was a time when I used to just write all the copy and content. Yeah.
Yep.
But now we're larger business and I can't do that. So now I'm the marketer of my thing. And look at it this way. Doug's a guitar repairer working for Fast Eddie's guitar shop. Doug says, man, Fast Eddie's lost it. What's he doing? I can do a better job than Fast Eddie. So Doug goes out and starts his own guitar repair business. You with me? Yep. Now, the problem is being a good technician, being a good guitar player or a good guitar repairer and making it a successful business are two different things. They require different skill sets. Yeah? Yep. And if you go out on your own, right, building your brand for your band, that could be a lyric for a song. It takes a different set of skills.
Fortunes in the follow through.
That's right. It takes a totally different set of skills. And there's a lot of services out there like the Gold Coast Music Awards. Those ladies you had on the other week, they seem to be rocking it. They seem to be really supportive. The Gold Coast Muso Jams, all these jam groups and that this is great. I think how Australians, I don't know about other countries, nurture their music. I think that's good. It's encouraging, But so what I'm saying is you've got to have that system. So 9 till 1, social media. 9 till 11, 11 till 10 past 1. Yeah. We're phoning new venues. So lead generation. Yeah.
Yep.
After lunch, we're going to call some of our previous venues and just say, hey, it's Doug from, Shred the Shed. I played a gig with you. Oh, hi, Doug. I was just letting you know I'm available for upcoming gigs or whatever and blah, blah, blah. Do you have anything coming up? Well, not at the moment, Doug, but we'll keep you in mind. So, okay, walk away, got a bit shot down a bit, but suck it up and you'll call back in another month. You know what I mean? It's that persistence and that confidence, I think, that Veronica asked about. And you only get that from doing it. Yeah. Does that make sense? Now maybe your manager does that. I don't know what, band managers do. Pardon my ignorance. I imagine a lot of them do that and they have a system to get their artists gigs. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know how to say that word.
Onomatopoeia. Close.
Yeah, right. Sounds like a country.
You should give away a free CD to anybody who can break that word down.
Yes.
Hey,
competitions. Oh, I like your thinking. Right. Okay, so you've given us. Are we finished the day now? Are we up to?
No, we're up till about 3:00.
Okay, because I have a question when we finish the day.
Okay, you want to finish the day? Okay,
no. Yeah. Oh, when you're finished, yeah.
Work harder on yourself than you do on your job, Jim Rowan, mate. Okay, now that means. Read about marketing. I have a general rule. Spend 90 minutes a day learning about marketing. And once again, I try and drive this to my crew. Yeah. I can't make them do it. But once again, if you've become good at marketing, whether you're a Shred the Shed guy, whether you're a Jaffa Man guy, whether you bake pies in the sky, Uh, you know, if you're a good marketer at it, you know, the principles are the same. So what I'm saying is read something about how branding and marketing your band for half an hour a day. Watch something about marketing and branding your solo act or band for half an hour a day. You know, YouTube videos. You know, Metallica and that, I was doing some research. They got some killers about building your brand, you know, because they were saying, oh, look, when we started, we could have gone to Las Vegas and done the Motley Crue thing with the, you know, the spandex pants and that, but we wanted to remain true to ourselves, you know. We wanted to remain like heavy rockers, and here they are. So, so that's part of, they knew what they wanted and where they were going, and that's that. I've lost my train of thought because I've gone off on a tangent.
That's all right. So we're 3 o'clock. So
Yep.
putting the effort in 90 minutes a day.
Yeah,
reading
learning your craft.
watching.
Yeah, so 30 minutes reading about marketing and branding, okay? And it's okay. It doesn't have to be about music specifically. At least I don't think it does. Because, there's great ideas in other industries that you can apply to marketing. Yeah, real quick, look at the drive-through window. Quick quiz, hot shot. Where'd the drive-through window come from?
Where did the drive-through window come from?
Yeah.
Well, it probably came from making a mistake, and they ran out of bricks only halfway, and they didn't know which side to put the door on.
Well, no, I'm going to have to put the brakes on that one. You know how it came about?
No.
In the US, banks had drive-through windows, right?
Banks?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
McDonald's employee was at in the drive-through, cashing his pay, right, his check, and he thought that would be a great idea for my McDonald's restaurant, and it was born. Yeah. So there you go.
Well, in Memphis, they still have drive-through windows.
Yeah, in the banks.
Yeah, in the banks. Yep. Yes. They
So, but that's what I mean. That's one idea from one industry that you can be applied to another. Yeah.
Cross-pollination.
That's exactly right. Subway did it too. Remember, they used to have the Whopper Sangers, and then they turned it into a health product. Oh, it's got only 60 grams of fat and this, that, and the other. It's really good for you. You know what I mean? So, so always, there's, and when, let's get back to the 30 minutes of reading about marketing and branding. Let's get back to the 30 minutes of watching something about marketing and branding. Yeah. And then you spend 30 minutes doing something of your own for your own marketing branding, meaning, what am I going to do tomorrow? Yeah. To bring my goals to life. And that could just be, I'm going to do social media again from, where are we? 9 till 11. I'm going to call another 10 venues, but you got to write those venues out. You can't just sort of wing it. Yeah. You can't flick through the yellows and stuff. And I'm going to spend another 90 minutes practicing my craft. So I'm going to read about marketing and branding. I'm going to watch about something about marketing and branding. And it doesn't have to be one half an hour show. It could be 32-minute clips for all, because once you start doing that, you're rewiring your brain, man, okay? And all of a sudden, you move from, like, being a great artist, I don't think is enough unless you're lucky enough to get discovered. Now, I could be full of poop. I won't swear on here. I'm such a grown-up. But I think the majority of us have to do the hard slog, but it's a process. It's a system. You need a system to acquire gigs. You need a system to get repeat gigs. I used to get us repeat gigs the night we played because, everybody in the audience is clamoring around you and wanting to buy you drinks, and they're your best buddies. And, so I used to arrange a second gig before I even left the gig that we played. Yeah. When, and just say, well, and that used to work quite well. Didn't always work, but that's the best time to ask. So, anyway.
Yeah. So I'm just going to recap for those people who are just tuning in. And so we're just talking about what a day might look like about doing a DIY rockstar business. So the first thing is to make an entree. So social media is actually meaning being social. So for the first 2 hours of the day, make a few posts. Then coffee. I wrote these down. Then get on the phone, get off the internet, make it personal connections. Then after that, that's reaching it. That's cold calling, and then after that, try and close or make contact with previous customers.
Yep, previous venues that you played gigs at. Yeah.
Yep. And the last point here is in our fictitious day of business is 90 minutes of working on yourself with understanding, doing some research, reading and or watching videos, and then making a plan of how you're going to apply that. And I really think that's great, because knowledge is useless if you don't apply it.
This is true, my friend. Yeah.
Yeah. So
it's, what do they say? It's not the time to know, it's the time to do, especially at the moment, COVID is what it is. It's doing what it does. And until you sit down and think about it, like I was thinking about artists and that the other day, thinking, man, like the effects of COVID are just amazing. It's affected nearly every business and every person on the face of the earth, I imagine, because you think of it. I mean, cinemas have just opened. Are they playing gigs at the moment? I think Mr. Troy's playing a few.
Yeah.
But they're obviously limited by numbers of attendees, yeah?
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So are you playing gigs or?
Yeah, I've done a couple of gigs and where they rope off the dance floor,
Oh, okay.
But, some people have got feedback from musicians. They say, oh, no, they shouldn't do this, blah, blah, blah. At the end of the day, the public and whoever's in charge, they're doing the best they can. They're trying. They want to be open. They want things back to the way they are doing. But so some of the musos just do what you have to do. It's no one's fault. There's no point complaining about it. Just get on with it.
Well, that's it. But I mean, and this has been talked about before. You really got to get out of your comfort zone if you really want to do the DIY rock star thing. I wasn't comfortable wearing an orange suit 15 or 17 years ago. And quite frankly, now as I get older and a bit of salt and pepper on top, all I need is an orange hat and I'll look like a pimp. So I got to be careful. But you've got to, you get to a place in your craft. Okay. You're in a band and you're here, but you usually want to evolve. Yeah. Okay, we all start with G, C, D chords, yeah? But then, you sort of advance to bar chords. Then you advance to lead riffs, or some of us do. I don't. I'm only a rhythm guitar guy. But you know what I mean. And the branding for your band or solo artist career is the same. It constantly evolves, Brands change. Pink, look at Pink. Lady Gaga, I remember when I saw Pink on Rove and she was just unknown, yeah? And she had just bright pink hair. But the next day, everyone was saying, hey, and I think that was in Morris days, everyone was saying, oh, did you see that chick with pink hair on Rove last night? And, look at her now. And admittedly, I think she's enjoying her hard work these days, but you know what I mean. But her brand also evolved over time. Just Kylie Minogue, the world's full of them. Taylor Swift, she went from a country star to a pop star. Yeah?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. Migrated. Yeah. Well, I do. I know we've already hit an hour, but I do want to maybe unpack one more question. But I just have a couple of fielding things here for you. So is it just a few posts put out there, or is it interacting with people's story that brings a stronger connection to Facebook? Well, I think. Or what do you say to that?
Well, I say it's a bit of both. I think people want to know your story, but, it needs to be a story that's engaging, but that's not to mean you embellish it or make it up, yeah? So, when I say post on Facebook 5 times a day, it doesn't mean you have to post on Facebook 5 times a week, because then it looks regimented. You know what I mean? Right. You want to be social on social. Yeah?
Yeah.
But, and I think, engage. I highly recommend if you get a comment, you need to engage with it, because that one person probably will have friends and they'll tell other people, and, that whole 10 people, I know 10 people, and the word spreads.
Yep. Well, I do want to ask one more question before we wrap it up, if that's all right with you. So we've unpacked DIY. So for some people who might, how do I say, how do you know what you don't know? Maybe I've just answered that question because you said to read about it. So what's the next step how do you know that you need assistance for the next level of branding or marketing engaging your service? Engaging your services.
No, I think you're going to know if you need help. One, you're going to be feeling overwhelmed, and two, your results suck. I write copy. I write a lot of copy, for all types of businesses. Clients say to me, "Oh man, that's really good, Jaffa man, blah blah blah." But you know what? Don't blow wind up my skirt just yet, because the real results are in the results in the marketplace. So you got to learn to tweak and adapt, man. I don't know. You ever played a gig where there's a fight broke out, Doug?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so what do you do?
Go straight to brown-eyed girl.
Yeah. Okay. So you keep on playing, right? I don't know if it's
or you stop. Yeah.
Well, yeah. So I mean, based on my experience, which is limited compared to a lot of you other guys and girls out there, we just kept playing, and that's the same. But how do you know if you need help? Well, you're getting overwhelmed. Yeah. You're putting stuff out there, but you're not getting the results you want. Yeah. So try something else. Yeah. It's all about adapting, especially in this day and age. Like I say, you could be the best muso or the best copywriter, but if you don't market yourself, no one's going to know about you. I know one of the ladies in last week's gig that you had on here, mentioned that, and it's true. And ultimately, there's no, you can reach out to me. I mean, I don't really see any real difference. I've played in bands, I've dealt with publicans. I love music. You know why I love music, Doug?
How come?
Because it's the one thing that unites people, man. Okay?
Yeah.
All over the world. Yeah?
Yep.
You know what I mean? It's the one thing that can really bring people together. I just watched Bill and Ted's Bogus Adventure again because the third one's come out. And they bring up the wild stallions that, helps heal the world. But music, we all have a relationship with music, or we all engage with it. Sure, some of us might like, Johann Strauss, and some of us might like Slipknot. But the point is, it's something that we can all relate to. Yeah. And that's what I like about music, it connects people. Yeah. And it's that experience. It's that branding, which is just a part of it. Yeah. So I don't know if I answered your question or if I went off on a tangent, my man.
Well, just for people out there, who may be at a certain time in their product development or branding, or maybe let me use another word, marketing.
Yeah.
You could use any words you like, really. But when do you know to agree and amplify? To get another set of skills and apply them with fresh eyes. And I guess in a music making sense, mastering. So when I did my record, because I haven't spoken to you in a while, so this actually happened. Mr. Greg Worth, Steve Vai's producer, actually mastered my record, and I'm blown away, and it's even worthy of attention. Yeah.
Yep.
So because I told him the story, and he saw me play first. That was the first thing. Skill set. He saw me play. Yep. Then we had the conversation. Actually, and I told him the story, and he said, "Yeah, man, send me the stems." And that's when, like, oh my god, send him the stems, and like, so that was really nervous. This guy is, one of my idols, right hand man, and he's working on my stuff, and which is a mind blow, and I'm very grateful for it. But I had to overcome a few inside fears to just,
of course, you did
step up and just give it a go.
That's exactly right. I mean, people worry about it. Okay, what's the worst that can happen if you fail? Really? Yeah, me too. I haven't always, and I still have my moments of lack of self-confidence, if you like. I'm not some bulletproof little guy in a orange suit. You know, I'm a living,
you're up to
breathing,
82 kills.
a living, breathing human being. I still have, you know, the same things. But I must admit, one thing that I do is I train my mind, and I've done a lot of that over the last 10 years. Like, I've rewired myself, how I see myself. You know, I'm comfortable with who I am now. You know, you like it or move on. I attract a certain type of person into my life, yeah, and repel others. You said that. And business is the same. Bands are the same. Solo artists are the same. But, you know, so it's really about, you know, and we hear this authenticity thing, you know, or thrown around all the time. And it's true. You need to be authentic. You need to be true to yourself. You need to know what you want too, you know. Don't let somebody else dictate to you what you want. Yeah. You know, the Doors, didn't they go on Johnny Carson or something, and they said you can't say that line, and then they said it anyway? I think
Oh,
yeah, I'm not sure what the line was. It's something about head or something in one of their songs, but I
it
could
was
be wrong.
LA Woman,
Yeah,
wasn't it?
yeah,
Yeah.
probably. And I think they did the same with the Hot Chili Peppers there, and they played it. So, you know, like I say, to me, it should be the music first, the image second, and the fans third, generally speaking. But you got to become the marketer of your solo career or your band. Yeah. You know,
Yeah.
a really good movie for me that I really like about this type of thing is watch The Dirt with Motley Crue. It's on Netflix. It's a really
Yeah.
good movie about how they started, how they built their brand. Yeah. And ultimately, you know, how they became so successful.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that was written by Neil Strauss, the book. He's a
That
great guy.
sounds familiar. A great book to read is Brand Like a Rock Star. I think it's by Steve Jones. It's called
Brand.
Brand Like a Rock Star. Yeah. You
I'm
know,
going to write
um,
that one down.
yep.
Brand.
So that's a great book to read. You know, so yeah. You know, we all know you've got to tell people your why, and that some people don't give a shit, in all honesty. You know,
Yeah.
some people do. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
that's just how it is.
and when you say your why, that's for giving the business plug of why you're doing something for your business, right?
Well, I think why you play that type of music, why you're, you know, why do you do these things?
Because I care. That's a good
Well, there you
question.
go. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Why do you play gigs?
I love playing music. I'm addicted to. As you can see, I've got way too many guitars. Yeah.
You
Oh,
do.
I love it.
I've
I've
got
got.
two.
That
And
one's.
it's also the entertainment. We were talking about this before, man. Like,
Yeah.
there's, you know, let's be honest, it's a real rush standing on a stage and all these people, energy just hits you. Like, it's an awesome feeling. And that
Yeah.
energy, whether it's 5 people or 5,000 or 50,000, man, that's just something you can't buy. Yeah.
Yeah. You
So
can't
for
find
the
it.
adrenaline junkies, it's good, but you're also providing entertainment. You're putting on a show. Yeah. Um,
Yeah. I think
Mate,
I'm
I could
addicted
talk
to it.
about this stuff until 2 o'clock tomorrow morning if you really want me to.
That's okay. But anyway, no. We should do that because I only asked for an hour, so I'm precious of your time here. So, is there any closing comments about, because we did discuss DIY, about branding, and just to recap, the difference between marketing. Marketing is the what you do and how you do it, and the branding is the experience of it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Anyway,
I
that's my
think so.
version of it.
How
Yep.
people perceive you and that, but you know, you've just got to be true to yourself. And yeah, as I say, it gets kicked around a lot, and sometimes you can't always be true to yourself. Sometimes there's always a trade-off. Yeah, we want you to play this gig in front of, you know, XYZ people, but we don't want this, and you've got to go, well, can we live with that or not? You know, um,
Yep.
that's only a decision a solo artist can make, or their manager, or the band as a unit. Yeah.
Yeah.
But what you can do, I'm going to sort of put this into a bit of a bullet point form and in PDF format. How about that?
Yeah.
This I'll have access to this. Yeah,
Yeah.
it'll be
Yeah. And then
replayed.
and please drop all your socials. Any. Yeah. On
Yep,
the thing I'll
and
take you.
you know,
How,
so go.
can you name drop all your socials right now? People want to find out where you're at.
Okay, the best place to find me is at creativecopywriting.com.au. That's my website. That's the copywriting website. I'll be honest, I'm sort of in the middle of starting a new business, which is in the music industry because I love music.
Wow.
So you can
exciting.
find me as Eddie Bryant or Jaffa Man on Facebook. Yeah. Jaffa Man on Instagram. Jaffa Man on Instagram. Yeah. All right.
Cool.
So that's it. Of course, I have a LinkedIn profile too, which is Jaffa Man Eddie or Creative Copywriting. But give me a few days. So you guys, if you'd like some bullet points about this sort of from Doug and I'm going to put together like a bullet point PDF gig for you. And with these tips that we talked about, and you can just reach out to me either through my social pages or by emailing me at creative solutions, the number 2 at mac.com. How about that?
Awesome. Perfect. And then I'll give you the link and you can do your thing. But I want to say thank you for your time. It's been very insightful and we should do this again.
Yeah, mate, it's been great to catch up. You look really well, and I'm glad things are happening for you. I'd really like to jam one day. I sing really good in the shower, but that's not going to work. But I do have, I play at, have you got a rehearsal room at home? See, I'm holding you up now.
Yeah, no, it's good. Yeah, I've got a studio, man. So, and this is the recording side of it. So absolutely, I'll talk to you off air in a second.
Oh, yeah, you're right. I just practice loud here in the office when there's no one around. So anyway, thanks a lot, viewers. I'll see you next time. Reach out if you want that bullet point thing in the next few days.
Yeah, we'll stay on the line, man. Don't hang up. Okay. I'll come back to you in a second. So I just want to say thank you again to Mr. Eddie Jaffa, man. And there's some great points there, even wearing an orange suit to gain attention. But even though I like the black one too. But anyway, I just want to say thank you to everyone that's been watching and sharing. And hey, Doug Marsden, how are you? Thank you. And please friend me, Jaffa. There we go. You got skills I don't have. There you go. You got one on the head. Anyway, Ed's just waiting in the background. But I just want to say, please jump on to all the socials here. And on Saturday night, I'll be doing Shred and Shed. So check out here. Please like that. And also, please jump onto that and click like and follow. And I do all of this just out of goodness of my heart because I don't get anything for this. So there's my thing. If you want to do something there, that'd be sensational. Anyway, rock and roll. Have a good night. I'll speak to you very soon. I just saw the bullet points. Yes, I'll sort that out. Peter and Veronica. Yes, they want the bullet points.